Creating and assigning a rubric to an assignment. Rubrics can be used for quickly positioning a student performance against specific criteria for an assessment, and, depending on the type of rubric you create, can be used to generate a score for the performance based on your selections. To create a rubric, first expand the Course Tools control panel and then click on the Rubrics link. To edit an existing rubric, roll your pointer over its name and then click on the grey circle that appears to the immediate right of the name. Select Edit from the drop-down that appears. To create a new rubric, click the Create Rubric button. First, give your rubric a name and then scroll down to the Rubric Details section of the configuration form. This displays a customizable matrix where the rows represent criteria and the columns the levels of achievement students can attain against those criteria. The bar across the top of the matrix provides a drop-down from which you can choose the type of rubric you wish to create. There are 5 choices. If you want to use the rubric for scoring or to indicate scores to students, then you could select one of the points or percentage options. If the assessment is purely formative, then you might choose to create a no points rubric. We'll demonstrate creation of a no points rubric here. To add an additional row to the matrix, click the Add Row button. The new row will appear at the bottom of the table. To delete a row, click the grey circle to the right of the row's description and select Delete this row from the pop-up menu that appears. To add an additional column to the matrix, click the Add Column button. The new column will appear at the right of the table. To delete a column, click the grey circle to the right of the column's description and select Delete this column from the pop-up menu that appears. To edit the description of a row or column, click the grey circle to the right of the description and select Edit from the pop-up menu that appears. Enter your descriptive text into the provided field that appears and click Save when done. To add written feedback for the levels of achievement for each criteria, type into the cells of the matrix. Feedback entered into the base rubric can be set as visible to all students. Note that when marking student work, you also have the opportunity to provide additional feedback for where you have positioned the student against a criteria. This will show as well as the base feedback. When you are happy with the rubric you have developed, click the Submit button. For the rubric to be used, you will need to attach it to an assignment submission point. To do this, either create a new submission point or edit an existing one. Scroll down the assignment configuration form until you find the grading section. Click the Add Rubric button displayed below the points possible. In the drop-down menu that appears, click on Select Rubric and on the ensuing window, select the rubric you wish to attach to the assessment. Click Submit on the window to add the rubric and dismiss the window. An information line will appear in the configuration form, allowing you to configure how the selected rubric will be displayed and used. If you have created a points or percentage rubric and want to use it for generating a score when marking, then you might want to leave the type selector at the default used for grading setting. In our example, we've created a no points rubric, so we'll change the type drop-down from used for grading to used for secondary evaluation. You also have a choice as to whether students can or cannot see the rubric, and when it might be visible, if at all. Use the drop-down at the right of the rubric information line to select your desired option. When you are happy with the assignment configuration, click Submit to save your settings. It's worth noting that once a rubric has been used for marking, the base rubric can no longer be edited. If you would like to reuse a rubric in another VLE site, you can export a rubric from one site and then import it into another.